let's continue blocking out our run cycle animation. Okay, so before we get to the next pose, let's make sure on frame 12 that we have a few things. One, that we have our hips going in the opposite value of what we have on frame 1 and 23. Remember, this midpoint is actually sharing the same pose, or should share the same pose, as frames 1 and 23, the start and ends. Okay, so this is just where the legs flip. That's the only real difference here. Okay, so on frame 1, we'll first make sure that we have a full value of 11 because it's close enough. Okay, -11 on both frames 1 and 23. And we don't want to always try to estimate our values and round them to a higher number. We just want to use values that are going to be correct to give us the right pose. Okay, but in this case it was close enough to -11. Now on frame 12 we'll just go ahead and use a value of +11 to flip the hips. And then what we can do from here is go to our side view. And in the side view we'll go to frame 12 and then skip to frames 1 and 23. This is to assure that we are maintaining the right poses. Alright, excellent. So now that that's done, sticking with the side view, let's go ahead and work on posing out the run some more. Going back to this left foot here, okay, on frame 9, we're working on the peak position of the run, the highest point. What we'll do here is, with this left foot, we can zero out our rotate X, as it shouldn't come up yet, nor the Y. We'll zero that out too. We can even move it back a little bit more. Not much at all. Okay. And then from there we want to also bring up the hips so that we do reflect that this is the highest point in the run. Now something very important to keep in mind when lifting the hips up is that we may run into IK locking depending on how high we run the hips up, how high we bring the hips. And the IK locking can give us a result of bad popping in the legs or even in the knees. Excuse me, in the knees or even in the elbows. So a trick I like to use to help avoid IK popping altogether is to just bring up the legs, straighten them out to a point where they look locked, but where they're not actually locked. I find that works very nice for us. Alrighty, so here we have our left foot back and our hips raised on frame 9. Let's go ahead and work on our right foot. We can bring this up and also rotate it down to prepare for landing. Okay, so here's what we have, a nice plant. Okay, and then later on we will be getting into the graph editor to really bring our timing home, we could say, to really give us a stronger feeling of weight as a character runs. So now that we have this pose on frame 9, all we need to do from here is basically flip our values around on the correct frame. So frame 9 should have a mirror, or should have, yes, a mirrored result of frame 20. So knowing that, on frame 9 we can start by copying the values of our right foot. We'll just copy that. Go to frame 20, go to the left foot, and paste the value in. Okay, so we'll make sure that we do just that. I'll just copy this. And then on the next foot, we'll just paste in that value on frame 20. There we are. And then going back to the right foot again on frame 9, we'll copy our Z. Copy. Go into frame 20. On the left foot, make sure we switch our selection here. We'll paste. And then going back to frame 9 again, we'll just go to our position Y, copy that, and then go to the left foot for frame 20 and paste in our value. Alright, excellent. Now, bringing our attention to what we need to do for the left foot, we really just need to copy our translate Z here, then select the right foot, go to frame 20, switch our selection. Okay. Oh, making sure, yes, that we do have the right foot, just the right foot. So our selection was fine there. And then paste. And then we need to just zero out our values on frames 1 and also our rotation X. So our translate Y and our rotation X, we need to make sure we zero out here. All right, excellent. So here's what we have so far. Now, what's wrong with this? Well, what we need to do is make sure that our position for the Y direction does share the same value on frame 20. So that's one thing. We'll copy it, go to frame 20, and paste. And another thing we want to make sure that we do is on frame 12 that we have the hips coming down so that they reflect what we have on frames 1 and 23. So we'll just copy that on frame 1 or 23 since it should be the same. And on frame 12 we'll go there and simply paste. Great, so here's what we have. Excellent. So it's all coming together. If we were to hit play. Now when viewing the cycle, okay, and we don't have much work at all done, so we're not going to really see a nice result at all, but we just want to see the timing roughly of what we're getting. But when viewing the cycle, what we want to do is not view from frames 1 to 23, but actually knock off the last frame. And this applies especially when rendering this out. You want to actually render from frames 1 to 22 on this 23 frame cycle. That helps us to, again, create that seamless cycle illusion. If we were to render from frames 1 to 23, because of them being the same, we'd see a pause in our animation. Okay, so we'll go into frame 1. If we hit play, you can see, all right, it's coming together. We have a few more things to do. So let's go ahead and just continue on with our poses. On frame 4, we can go here and let's say take our left foot, bring that back a little bit more. We can bring the hips down and the Y. Really bring those down. And then maybe take this left foot and not bring it back so much. And then for the right foot, we can basically go ahead and make sure that we rotate that as it's coming forward. So we'll go to our rotate X, rotate it. Okay, may even need to lift it up. So we'll do that on frame 4 again. Just lift this up. And let's see. Okay, that should be alright. We can scrub through to see what we're getting. Alright, excellent. So, I think that'll be fine as far as blocking is concerned. So now, what we want to do is go to the same frame, okay, that all of this information is on. And that would be, or the mirrored frame that is. So that would be frame 15. Okay, so going to that frame, and also we can go to our side view again. We can first make sure that we go to our hips, copy our translation Y, and then paste it on frame 15. Then going back to frame 4, we can go ahead and copy our Z and paste it for the opposite foot here. Okay, so we'll make sure that we have that opposite foot selected, the right foot, there we are. And then we'll paste in that value that we had set. Going back to frame 4, we can now work on the right foot. We'll copy its translate Z to start out. Go to frame 15, select the left foot and paste. Okay, and that should be just fine. On the position Y, we want to copy that. We'll go to our value on frame 15, select the left foot and paste. And then that brings us to our rotation X. So let's go ahead and copy that. And on frame 15, we can go ahead and paste our value in. Alright, excellent. So here's what we're working with now. We have our character really having his run come together. If we go ahead and hit play to see where we're at right now, notice it's not looking too bad. Okay, it's really come together, and we've done very minimal work. And notice the weight we're getting too as the boots make contact with the floor. Okay, and of course, once we're done with this blocking phase, what we're going to be doing is just going in and tweaking out our function curves, and we're about there really. We don't have too much work to do as far as the side view, what we see before we actually get into the graph editor and start tweaking this some more. So we'll stop the lesson here and continue tweaking our run cycle in the next lesson.